When the government starts paying for something or your insurance company starts paying for something, they have an inherent interest in lowering costs. And unfortunately, that interest isn't counterbalanced with benefits to the patient, long-term outcomes, and predictability. Speaking about reimbursements and the effect that reimbursements have had on dental costs, I want to bring up Canada as an example. Canada for years had basically free health care. But the way that they had free health care is they rationed things, and the safety net or the relief valve for that was, if you wanted to go to the head of line or get a surgery done or something that you would normally in the United States get done in a week, a 3-month or a 6-month or a 2-year wait in Canada was normal. Well, the safety valve is you could go across the border and pay cash and have it done in the United States by very, very competent practitioners. Well, we've kind of lost that now. In dentistry, when they introduced insurance, they covered a fair amount of our fees, and the annual limit, which was an inverted stop loss, they only paid X amount instead of after X amount paying 100%, which they had in medical insurance. They inverted the stop loss, and that stop loss of $1,000 to $1,500 hasn't moved in over 60 years. So 60 years ago, you could buy a Volkswagen for about $1,700, and now that same Volkswagen is about $27,000, and yet the reimbursement is the same. And so our costs have been suppressed from an insurance reimbursement standpoint, but that has to have affected quality and decision-making that dentistry uses, and it's affected the outcomes. We are going through a similar evolution right now in healthcare. It used to be that the carriers paid what the hospitals and what the doctors charged. And when Obamacare came in, and we had Medicare, what people didn't realize is they gutted over 90% of all the procedures that they used to pay for, and they stopped paying for them. And so when everybody got universal health care, what they got was they got a hollowed out plan. And anybody that hasn't used healthcare thinks it's still the way it used to be, but anybody that goes through the system now realizes that there are limitations, significant limitations in treatment that they can do, and it affects. I've had doctors apologize to me for members of my family and myself that they couldn't do what they could do before because of limitations from the federal government reimbursements. And then once the federal government steps in, then the carriers, the private insurance companies, tend to go along with the cuts in services. So healthcare is going through the cuts in services and the reimbursements that dentistry went through 60 years ago. And the people who continued to give high quality care in dentistry stepped out of plans, contract plans, where you had to do what they said for what they said. And you're seeing the same thing in healthcare now. All the evolution of concierge healthcare, where the doctor can't make enough on the reimbursements from third parties, and so they step out of the system and they treat patients for non-insurance, basically cash purposes.